My friend Terry. Let's tell you about my friend Terry, who was my best friend in high school, and we actually went to college together also. We were just finished our first year at college, and we were back for the holidays. Now, let me tell you a little bit about Terry. Terry was always sort of the go-to guy at high school. You know, he was the guy that sold individual cigarettes to people. You know, he was the guy that would give out advice to any of the boys on how to attract girls. He would tell people how to ride the buses and not pay for them. And many things like that. He was always the center of sort of the activity. Now, most of his ideas would have had unintended consequences. And so they were always a little bit kind of iffy, as you really should take his advice or not. But on this particular occasion, we were home from college, and there was going to be a dance at our local community college coming Friday. And we didn't have any girls to take. And since Terry was sort of the person that gave out advice on how to attract and get girls, this was going to be a problem. We had to go because Terry's sister Audrey was going to be there with her boyfriend. And if Terry showed up without a girlfriend, his sister Audrey would never really let him forget this. She would kind of spread the news far and wide about what a loser her brother was. So Terry was really kind of concerned about this. And he said, we've got to put our heads together and we've got to figure out how to find two attractive girls to take to the dance on Friday. It's really, really important. So I started to put together a list of names and phone numbers of girls. And he took a look at it and he said, no, that's absolutely not going to work. First of all, we don't know, maybe they're already going to be going, they've already accepted invitations. And, there are many of these girls that, maybe, we don't want to go with. He said, I have a better idea. What we should do is this. We should advertise in the weekly local newspaper. This was back before social media. And he said, the ad should run like this. She's talking about, if you're looking for a date on Friday night, be in the grocery store between 4 and 5 o'clock. And he named the grocery store. And have an upturned pineapple in your shopping cart. And look for the same from others. So the idea was that, if you're there with an upturned pineapple and you saw somebody else with an upturned pineapple, you were you were in the market here. I was very worried about this, but Terry had really built up a head of steam on this, and he was determined to go ahead. So he took some of the money from his proceeds from the sale of his single cigarettes that he was still working on, and the ad ran. So we get to the grocery store, a little ahead of 4 o'clock, and we hide out in the beer and liquor section to see what was going to happen. And sure enough, 4 o'clock, the grocery section really fills up, and the pineapples were just sort of flying off the tables. People were putting them, and they were upturned in their shopping carts. We were astounded. So I said, well, we better get started quickly because we don't want the girls to be taken by others. We've got to really get out there, and really stake a claim here. We said, no. We're going to walk out there without any basket. We're going to sort of survey the population of girls. And then we're going to narrow it down. And then we will approach the girls that we think are most attractive to us. And then we will go up to them and say, oh, I see you have an upturned pineapple. I'm just about to get mine upturned pineapple. And, you know, a conversation will ensue. Okay, so anyway, we left the liquor and beer section and went into the grocery section. And the first person we came to was Audrey's boyfriend. He had an upturned pineapple in his cart. And Terry was very indignant about this. Very indignant. And this kind of surprised me because Terry had never really, you know, been indignant about his sister, as far as I know, at any time in the past. But he went up to her boyfriend and really kind of got into it with this guy, saying that his sister's honor was being impugned. This was absolutely awful. How could he possibly do this? His sister would be devastated. What was going on? And of course, the boyfriend was kind of momentarily dazed from this. And Terry said to him, well, look, maybe there's a way around this. And he said, you know, maybe this can be dealt with by a case of 12 beers. By a case of 12 beers. And so a deal was done very, very quickly. Audrey's boyfriend went and got 12 beers and gave them to Terry. So Terry thought he was ahead of the game. So we then proceeded a little bit further. And I then noticed at the far end of the grocery store, Terry's mother with an upturned pineapple in her shopping cart. And she was talking to a guy with an upturned pineapple in his shopping cart. Some 10 years, appeared to be 10 years younger than she was. Just at that moment, Terry noticed it as well. And he was absolutely apoplectic. I mean, I thought he was going to have a heart attack right on the spot. He grabs hold of me sort of to balance himself, you know, to balance himself. And he said, I've got to go and get my dad. You know, I said, what are you talking about? I said, no, he said, but I got to get my dad. Now, as it turned out, Terry lived quite closely to the grocery store. And there's a guy over there not listening. Oh. Now, I'm relying on your vote a little bit later. He lived quite close by. So I didn't know how he was going to do this. So he said to me before he left, John, make sure my mother doesn't leave the grocery store. So he went home. I don't know how he did it. I mean, he kidnapped his father, you know, how he did it, sort of grabbed him, brought his father to the grocery store. His father was kind of surprised because I don't think his father had been in the grocery store his entire life. So this was kind of surprising to him. But it turned out that there was a long line of people buying pineapples, as you can imagine, and Terry's mother was sort of in the line. And so Terry drags his father in and starts introducing his father to everybody in the line in a very loud voice. This is my, oh, hello, Mum. This is my mother's husband, married, you know, low these many years, looking forward to grandchildren. And he was, you know, sort of going up and down the line, I guess trying to discourage his mother from taking this kind of pineapple thing further. It was just at that moment that the store manager came over and grabbed hold of Terry and dragged him off. And I think he must have dragged him off to the office and really got into Terry because the boyfriend had told the manager the whole story about the pineapples. And the manager was completely upset that his store had been turned into this dating forum for the afternoon. So the police were called, of course, and Terry was detained in the office while the police gave him a real lecture on never to do this again. And I went home with Terry's mother and father. And of course, when I got home there was Audrey dressed up, ready to go on her date. But of course, her boyfriend was not going to show up. And I felt that Audrey had always had a shine for me a little bit. And I'd always been sort of attracted to Audrey. And so for me, the evening ended wonderfully. Audrey and I went to the dance together. Terry finally gets home, and he spends the evening with his mother and father watching TV, drinking beer, and eating pineapple. Thank you.